It can feel like you're carrying something quietly heavy, even when nothing seems wrong on the surface. There's a subtle awareness that the connection exists, that it feels real in certain moments, and yet there's a gap between what is felt and what is given. You notice how they show up, just enough to keep the connection alive, but never fully enough to satisfy the part of you that longs for steadiness. It's not confusion you feel. It's more like a slow ache, a recognition of imbalance that has been building over time. You may notice how your heart remembers the moments of closeness, the laughter, the care, and how those moments linger, even when the follow-through never does. It can feel like holding two truths at once: the presence of connection and the absence of effort that matches it. There's a subtle tension in feeling seen and left wanting simultaneously. Part of you recognizes the sincerity of the moments that existed, the warmth in the small gestures, the times when attention was given freely and openly. And at the same time, there's a quiet ache in noticing how much more often you had to adjust, wait, and soften yourself to accommodate the pace of their giving. You may feel tenderness for the connection that exists, alongside frustration for the ways it repeatedly falls short. Wanting to trust what was real, while also noticing the slow depletion that comes from sustaining a connection alone. It can feel like holding hope lightly, even as the evidence of imbalance is impossible to ignore. You might sense a gentle turning inward, a soft reflection without judgment, wondering if you asked for too much, or if your expectations were somehow misaligned. There's a quiet self-questioning about whether your heart was too open, whether your willingness to give was taken for granted, or if the care you received was simply all they could offer. This isn't blame. It's an attempt to track your own response in the midst of inconsistency. You may revisit the moments repeatedly, not to fix them, but to reassure yourself that your experience is valid, that noticing the gap between connection and effort doesn't make you unreasonable, that your feeling of wanting more doesn't invalidate what was given. Sometimes it's exhausting to remain present when effort never matches the depth of feeling. There's a subtle weariness that comes from offering emotional availability without guarantee. You may notice how often you stayed attentive, how you softened disappointments to preserve the warmth that did exist, how you balanced your desire for connection with the reality of its limits. That balancing act can leave a quiet tension in your chest, a gentle reminder of the labor it took to remain fully present when the other side was inconsistent. It can feel heavy, even when the moments of care were genuine. There's no need to resolve this tension, no requirement to reconcile what was real with what was missing. Both truths can coexist. The connection can remain meaningful, and the lack of sustained effort can remain noticeable. You don't have to turn this into understanding or growth. You don't have to create meaning from what is incomplete. It can simply be acknowledged. You can hold the fullness of your experience without changing it. The discrepancy between feeling and action doesn't lessen the value of your awareness or the authenticity of your engagement. You may notice how much presence you offered, how often you leaned in emotionally, how consistently you allowed the connection to matter to you. There's a subtle weight in recognizing that effort doesn't always align with depth, and that noticing it doesn't diminish the moments of care. You may feel gratitude for the times they truly gave, alongside the frustration of what was withheld. Both feelings can exist at once, without conflict, simply reflecting the reality of what you experienced. You might sense a quiet settling now, a space to simply be with your experience without needing to reframe or resolve it. There's no requirement for clarity, no pressure to turn this into insight. Just the acknowledgement of what you carried, the moments of presence, and the places where effort never caught up. You are allowed to rest here, holding the fullness of both connection and imbalance, letting it be exactly as it is. If it feels okay, you can linger here a little longer. Nothing is asking you to move yet.